Off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan, lies an island frozen in time. Once it was loud, crowded, alive. Today it is silent. This is Hashima Island, also known as Gunkanjima, or Battleship Island. From a distance, its concrete skyline rises from the sea like a massive warship abandoned by history. But Hashima was never meant to be beautiful. Every building, every wall, every corridor existed for one reason only: coal. Hashima Island spans just 16 acres. Yet, at its peak in the 1950s, more than 5,000 people lived here. This made it one of the most densely populated places on Earth, even more crowded than Tokyo at the time. Because space was limited, the island grew upward instead of outward. Tall concrete apartment blocks were built tightly together, creating narrow passageways and shadowed corridors. Sunlight rarely reached the ground level. The island felt enclosed, compact, and intense. These buildings were revolutionary. Hashima became home to Japan's first large-scale reinforced concrete high-rise apartments. Long before modern skyscrapers became common, families here lived stacked floor upon floor above the sea. Life on the island followed a strict rhythm. Miners woke early and descended into the earth through vertical shafts that led beneath the ocean floor. There, in extreme heat and darkness, they extracted coal from narrow tunnels surrounded by seawater and rock. Above ground, daily life continued in a self-contained world. Children attended school without ever leaving the island. Teachers lived just floors away from their students. There were no long commutes, no cars, and no open countryside. Food arrived by boat. Fresh water was limited and carefully rationed. Everything had to be planned, organized, and controlled. Hashima was not just a town. It was a system. In 1890, Mitsubishi purchased the island and began reshaping it. Land was artificially expanded using concrete and reclaimed seabed. Massive seawalls were built to protect against typhoons and violent waves. Even so, nature was always present. During storms, waves slammed into the island with incredible force. Saltwater corroded metal, cracked concrete, and seeped into buildings. Residents learned to live with constant wind, noise, and isolation. Despite these conditions, many families remember Hashima as a lively place. There were cinemas that showed the latest films. There were festivals, community events, and sports teams. Children played on rooftops and staircases. Neighbors knew each other closely because there was nowhere to escape. But this closeness came at a cost. Privacy barely existed. Noise traveled easily between apartments. Arguments, laughter, and daily routines were shared by everyone. The island was physically crowded and psychologically intense. Beneath this surface of normal life, danger was constant. Mining accidents were common. Coal dust filled the air and damaged lungs. Underground temperatures often exceeded 40 degrees Celsius, pushing miners to their physical limits. During World War II, Hashima entered its darkest period. Hundreds of Korean and Chinese laborers were forcibly brought to the island. They were assigned the most dangerous jobs and worked under extreme conditions with little protection. Many suffered illness, injury, and death. Their stories were rarely recorded, and for decades they were largely absent from official accounts of Hashima's history. Even today, their suffering remains a sensitive and controversial topic. By the late 1960s, the world began to change. Oil replaced coal as Japan's primary energy source. Hashima's mine became expensive and unnecessary. In 1974, Mitsubishi announced the closure of the mine. Residents were given only weeks to leave. Families packed essentials and boarded boats back to the mainland. Many believed they would return someday. They never did. Furniture was left behind. Televisions sat in living rooms. Shoes remained by doorways. Children's toys lay scattered on floors. Apartments were abandoned exactly as they were, sealing daily life inside concrete shells. Within months, Hashima Island was completely empty. For decades, no one lived there. Wind echoed through stairwells. Rain leaked through cracked ceilings. Plants slowly broke through concrete floors. Metal rusted. Walls collapsed. Nature reclaimed the island inch by inch. When people finally returned, the island felt unsettling. not because of ghosts, but because everything was familiar, yet lifeless. A city designed for thousands now held no one. In 2009, limited tourist access reopened. Visitors are restricted to guided paths due to structural collapse risks. Most of the island remains off-limits, untouched, and dangerous. Tour routes show only a fraction of Hashima. Entire buildings, classrooms, and homes remain unseen, hidden behind barriers and locked doors.
Hashima has inspired films and documentaries. Hollywood's Skyfall used it as a model for a villain's lair. South Korea's The Battleship Island dramatized forced labor and escape. These portrayals are dramatic, but reality is quieter and more disturbing. In 2015, Hashima Island was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yet preservation efforts remain limited. The buildings continue to decay, and time is slowly erasing physical evidence of the past. If nothing changes, Hashima may eventually collapse into the sea. Hashima Island is not haunted by spirits, but by memory, by ambition, sacrifice, suffering, and survival. It is a monument to human progress and its cost. The island may be empty today, but its silence still speaks. If you walked these collapsing corridors now, surrounded by concrete and sea, what would you feel?